After quitting 9 to 5, we did a 14 months of backpacking the world. I came back in my 20s. I used to have a lot of that fear. So when it comes to that fear, your perfection kicks in and all the negative spiral, because the economy is so bad nowadays. We need to find a new way to stay connected, keep ourselves happy.
And I love that no one else has lived your exact life or made your exact choices. And that itself can be valued. Not just making content, you're building
Okay,
a
that's it,
habit.
that's fine.
Hey Taka, so you're starting YouTube at 32. I've kind of thought about it too, but honestly, I feel like I'm late to the game. There are so many younger creators who grew up with this stuff. Why now? What made you decide to start?
Yeah, so for me at 32 now, long story short is basically I want to create to connect. I don't want to be advising. I'm not in a position to advise anyone with kind of a expert interview. But what I can do is that I want to share my journey, life journey, because I've been quite positive about my life right now, and not because I'm earning a lot of money, but I'm saying that I'm in a stage where I can design my own life story, and I'm just trying to achieve more, and hopefully I can share this journey with everyone, the struggles and pains that we can share together. So that's why I'm starting this YouTube to connect again.
That actually sounds really refreshing, but I'm curious, was there a moment that pushed you to actually start? Like, were you thinking about it for a while and hesitating? What finally made you go, okay, I'm doing this?
After quitting 9 to 5, we did a 14 months of backpacking the world, and after that, we realized, we just had a simple lesson learned, is that you should be the one to make your own decision and design your own life. And I think being on YouTube is part of a habit, creating habits to yourself. So I want to practice storytelling, because especially in your 30s, I'm running a consulting company and I'm trying to experiment different types of businesses. So at this point, storytelling is something really important, and I want to document this journey and process, hopefully to not just to share my opinion and lessons, but I also want to get an opinion from all over the world as well.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's not just about sharing your story, it's also about practicing storytelling itself and getting better at it. I guess that ties into running a business too, right? Like, if you can tell a good story, you can connect with people better, whether it's customers, partners, or even just people who might support what you're doing. But I gotta ask, doesn't putting yourself out there feel a bit scary? I mean, especially since you're not trying to be an authority, just sharing the journey. Do you ever worry about how people will react, or if they'll even care?
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of fear in that. In the past, I think back in my 20s, I used to have a lot of that fear. So when it comes to that fear, your perfection kicks in and all the negative spiral just goes in. But I think what matters now to me is more about creating more content in a different aspect, something that makes you more unique, right? So that uniqueness in you will sort of connect yourself to someone else in the world, somewhere in the world, who might be waiting to hear you out. So I think it's just a perspective. Instead of I'm scared to express myself into something, people are actually waiting for you to be discovered, and people might be waiting for you just because you're so unique at some point. I'm not saying that I'm unique as hell, I'm just a normal person, but I'm saying that experiences that I had and all that kind of things that I used to do, the decision making, I think there are something that can resonate with different type of people. So you kind of want to see this as an experiment to see who will be there to connect with you. That's sort of an experimental mindset is what I'm having.
That's actually a really interesting way to look at it. Instead of thinking, what if people don't care? You're thinking, what if someone out there is actually waiting to hear from someone like me? That totally flips the fear into curiosity. Hey, let's be real. YouTube takes a lot of time and effort. How are you balancing this with running a business? Isn't this a huge time commitment on top of everything else?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is also something that I used to struggle a lot because of the perfection as well. Even doing research and scripting, this takes a lot of time. But I feel like nowadays, a lot of YouTube production, the production value itself is getting really high. People are making I don't know, some sort of movie and super high production stuff. I get it, that's what exactly That's exactly what I was doing. I was intrigued by the Sam Coder, Nicholas Crystal, that kind of a storytelling with extra visuals and stuff like that. I was so into that kind of thing before. And plus I was trying to go get more views and stuff. But for me now it's more about sharing my content. So it's more about what you have in your mind, what you have in your heart. And then by sharing that sort of like contents is, you don't really need to script it, but it's kind of like in your brain. You need to do edit, sometimes you need to script it as well. But for me this time I'm really trying to reduce the time of editing stage, processing it, making this podcast style with you like that. Then that way so that you can question me. I give you a prompt and you question me differently and I can give you answers. And I think as long as we stay on the line of that title, this is already one content. So like try to automate the process, delegate the process if you want to, and start from there. I'm only doing this on the weekends, so I'm only posting once every week. Yeah, that's how I see it now.
That's actually really smart. Instead of chasing high production value or spending hours scripting, you're focusing on just getting the thoughts out there in a way that's sustainable. And yeah, YouTube has gotten so polished that it's easy to feel like you have to make a cinematic masterpiece. But really, if the message is good, people will connect with it. I like the approach of treating this kind of like a conversation instead of a heavily produced thing. And it makes, say, a year from now, what would make you feel like this was worth it? More connections, business opportunities, something else?
Ultimately, yes, just like you said, it's like businesses, anyone that's connecting you, community as well as businesses, something kind of beyond my imagination now because I'm still focusing on my kind of a habit of creating YouTube right now. But yeah, I'm just really excited about meeting different types of people that have contacts or similar issues or problems in their lives. And for me, I don't know, I'm living in Hong Kong, Japan, both as well, but pretty much I have a lot of different kind of like stories and experiences that I can share. So through that journey, I hope to discover more people. And if there's anyone that's actually finding troublesome to get over those issues and problems, like we can stay connected and we can build a community. I think that's the ultimate goal that I have for now.
And yeah, with your background living between Hong Kong and Japan, plus all the traveling you've done, you definitely have a unique mix of experiences that could resonate with a lot of different people. Last question, since you're just starting out, what's your mindset advice for people like me who want to start but keep overthinking it? What would you tell someone who's stuck at the I want to do it, but phase?
It's really interesting. I've been through a lot of...
I feel like that
What?
is you really thinking about this one. Take your time. But
Okay.
yeah, what would you say to someone like me who keeps overthinking and never actually starts?
Yeah, I think for me was more about, it really kind of depends on like how you see yourself, but for me I'm more of a passionate person. So in other words, if I hate something, I really just can't do anything. So for myself, it was more about anti-vision, like Dan Ko says, anti-vision is something it's important. It's basically removing things that you really hate in your life. Start from there. And if you're just scared about starting a YouTube or something, think about like why you want to do this. And for example, like I want to do this, but I'm also scared to start. So how I would see nowadays is more of changing my mindset to stop being a consumerism, become more of a creator. So like it's like you want more money, but if you try to go get the money, you're not going to get it. But instead you want to focus on what value can you create, deliver to the audiences that you have, right? So that's when the money follows after. So you want to focus on like what can I help with the people that's out there on YouTube? How can I discover them to stay connected and build a better community together? It's sort of like the mindset or the question that I ask myself. And I think that's what matters for now.
That's actually a great way to reframe it. Instead of thinking, what if I fail? Or what if no one cares? Just flip the focus to what can I create that might help or connect with someone? It takes the pressure off because it's not about chasing numbers or perfection. It's about giving something valuable, even if it's just a thought or a conversation. And I like what you said about anti-vision. If I keep avoiding something because I'm scared, I should ask myself, well, what's the alternative? Do I want to keep being stuck in the same place? That actually makes starting feel less intimidating. All right, man, I feel like I just got a mini TED Talk here. This was really inspiring. Any final words for people who are still on the fence about starting?
Something that I made a huge mistake before was that like anything that when you put out your content, you should really focus on how to minimize that, like automate or minimize that hours and effort of creating that one video like this. Is like you don't really have to spend a lot of time. Now there's ChatGPT, there's everything. Just like how I'm trying to script it in the beginning, but at the end of the day, what I need is actually people asking me questions, then I know what to answer, right? So this is how I'm pretty much doing it, and don't try to perfect this, as it's only an experiment at the end of the day. And whenever that experiment's made a huge outcome for you, then that's one small success story in life, and that's what I'm trying to achieve right here. I think we should do it together. It's more about, I'm not in a position to tell you anything or advise you anything, but I'm just saying that we can have this mindset to try experimenting it, because the economy is so bad nowadays. We need to find a new way to stay connected, keep ourselves happy.
And I love the idea of treating it all as an experiment. That way, there's no pressure to succeed in some big way right away. You just keep testing, learning, and growing. And yeah, you're right. YouTube isn't just about building an audience. It's about keeping yourself engaged with the world in a meaningful way. Man, this was a great convo. Thanks for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
I feel like I need to start something now. Any last words before we wrap this up?
I think for YouTube, whoever watching until the end of this, thank you very much. And I think I really want to connect with this while actually building this habit to create and express my opinions and everything out to the world as well. So I'll talk more about other things in the next video. So see you soon.
That's a perfect way to wrap it up. You're not just making content, you're building a habit.
That's fine.